In any good story, you're going to have a rivalry. In Bannerlord, the geographical situation gives us likely rivalries for the field of glory. And in this episode and series, you'll learn to confront your main rivals with devastatingly effective tactics. Buckle up. Alright friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, and we are dedicated to helping you get badass in Bannerlord through the use of advanced field command and tactics, i.e. the art of warfare. Now we are going to continue our Bannerlord Rivalry series here as we take on various different kingdoms with their neighbor. In this case, we will be hosting the Imperials with their glamorous pink color here, and we are going to spatter them with blood with our ASERAI forces. Now both sides here, we're just showing you at the beginning. I'm not going to do this in each battle. Has tier 3 through 6 units, that way the equal quality of the units on the battlefield, and we will fight outnumbered in every battle today. We're outnumbered by about 20% here, and just to show you the difficulty of this kind of a battle, using the custom battle menu, we will let the sergeants fight the first 30 or 60 seconds here, and I will use this time both to assess how poorly the AI does, but mostly to talk about the matchup here. There are advantages and disadvantages to every kingdom. In this case, one of the big advantages that the ASERAI has is ranged weapons. Lots and lots of javelins, lots and lots of throwing axes. The Imperials are much tougher units, much more armored, very good infantry. And both infantry sides, by the way, are very similar as well. The Imperials have a pure shock troop in Avalon. The ASERAI have a pure shock troop line, including some of the best tier 3 units in the game, the ASERAI Mamluk Axemen, the only two-handed tier 3 unit, as far as I know of, in the game. Now, the ASERAI have an enormous advantage in ammo, and I've mentioned this before, but the ASERAI, especially against the Imperials, have a gigantic advantage in this department because all of the tier 3 and 4 and 5 ASERAI archers have 2 quivers, 2 full bags of arrows. Against the Imperials, that's especially important because only one of the 5 divisions or 5 types of archers that the Imperials have here has 2 quivers, and that is the Palatine Guards. All the rest, the crossbow, the other archer tiers, have 1 bag. And that gives you an advantage that you want to use when you're facing the Imperials. In simple terms, a long battle favors the ASERAI because you're going to have more staying power. Now, their infantry is also outstanding. We've talked about it before. It's one of the most versatile infantries in the game with javelins. The Palace Guards are excellent, and their Vanguard Ferris are tough. But overall, this is a challenging battle still because the Imperials have similarly very tough units. In fact, I think you could argue that they have 3 of the very best tier 5 units in the game: the Legionary, the Imperial Sergeant Crossbow, and the Elite Manavalionton. All of those are devastatingly effective units. As you can see here, the AI ultimately succumbed to defeat in this first example. It was a little closer than I expected, actually, but about 220 survivors. And with your permission, we will call that wrapped up. Now, this first battle, we're playing defensive. In other words, the enemy has to come to us, and we're going to use that to our advantage. Now, we'll switch this to Commander. Again, outnumbered by a little over 100, so I guess a little bit more than outnumbered by 20%. Now again, any battle where you're defensive, you want to take a nice position, of course, on a hillside. Archers shoot further when they're up a hill, and they do a little bit more damage. Now we're also going to prepare for horse archers here. They don't have a huge amount of horse archers in this example, but it's enough that we want to have a defense set up at the beginning. We're also going to use our cavalry in a skein. I don't do this very often, but I've been fiddling around with this more since I've been using 4 units. Oops. I've been doing 4 units a little bit more often because the guys, especially on the console, are not real comfortable, or it's very difficult to command 6, 7, 8 divisions. And so for much of this episode, we will do 4 divisions. Now look how tight that square is, right? It's pretty damn good. And the Palace Guards, of course, your 2-handed shock troops, hide behind those shields. Now our archers are going to start firing, and we're not really concerned about ammo much in this battle, again, because of these extra quivers. These ASERAI light archers, even though they look terrible with the horrible helmet, They have lots of arrows. They don't do a lot of damage, but that staying power is really going to help us, and it means that we don't have to worry quite as much about ammo early in this battle. And they actually have a few more horse archers than I thought. They have 70. That's a lot. My rule of thumb is anything less than 40. I don't worry about it too much, but if they have 70, 80, 100 horse archers, prioritize and destroy them. Here I'm just sending our cavalry up onto the hill. We're going to try to protect our archers here and then eventually attack these sons of bitches. Kind of fat fingering some of my commands. Apologies. Keeping an eye on the enemy. The enemy is closing in behind us, but they look like they're content to shoot us at range, which means that we can engage their horse archers while we have the free time here. So we send our cav division charging. Our archers are working, right? And they are scoring kills and doing damage slowly. The biggest key here is this already. The current state of the battle is a win for us because our archers are shooting downhill. They're doing more damage. Our archers, by the way, of course, are spread out better than the enemy. That's just poor AI coding. But don't forget that ammo, right? Long after the enemy runs out of ammo and their guys are just standing there, our archers are still going to be shooting. We want to take full advantage of that, and that's something I will probably mention too many times in this episode. Another big advantage we have here is javelins. Now we're going to prepare a nice volley for the enemy flank here with the cav division. We're just going to put these guys on the enemy left, our right. The infantry, you notice, is kind of in the other direction because we're creating a hollow middle here for the enemy to kind of get trapped between, right? We want to pound them with ammunition, and at the same time, by having these divisions off to the side, it clears the way for our archers to shoot right down the center. And set our Jav Cav division right in between there. Now we're still being harangued by their horse archers, so I'm just going to assign our horse archers to go after them. Of course, they run around like dipshits and don't do what they're told. It's the system we have. All right, so you see where the enemy infantry is. They're right in the gauntlet here. Now we can tell both of these divisions kill. The square of infantry is just there to distract and absorb attention. Meanwhile, the javelins start to fly, right? And these legionnaires, their shields are starting to fill full of javelins. They're tough, though, right? These guys do not go down easy, and so you do want to be careful where your archers are in this circumstance. The infantry square is absorbing a lot of attention, and I think it makes sense here to back your archers up, although I would have no problem if you just left them where they were. Now we're charging with the cavalry because eventually those guys run out of javelins, and we might as well at least get them into action with their spears. Move these archers back just a touch, but this battle's already over. The enemy is attacking a square haplessly. They have no chance of destroying that square. Our cavalry is now absolutely trucking all their archers from behind. Our archers have great positioning here, and even though a few of their infantry sort of snuck through, they're getting mangled, 8-1 by archers and shot to death. Our cav is now attacking the infantry, attacking our square, and it's all over but the crying and the burial ground. This battle is over. Away the Imperials go, as we'll just stand here in the RTS mod until it says we've won. And not just a victory here, but we smashed the enemy, right? What is that? Almost 60% of our army survived. More than 60%, despite the fact that we're outnumbered. All right, so let's also try offense too, right? Let's switch terrains here just to keep things fresh, the landscape fresh. Let's do an even harder challenge here. Let's attack, and this is normally not a situation that you're going to encounter. I'll explain why in a second, but let's attack an entrenched enemy with lots of archers. In theory, this is a non-starter, and the reason why this is not going to happen to you in Bannerlord is because usually, if the enemy is playing defensive, they will have less troops than you. If the enemy has more troops than you, they're almost always going to attack you. So this scenario, it's a little bit artificial, but nevertheless, we will try it anyways. Now, just sort of observing what's going on here. The AI likes to skirmish with horse archers. The enemy has a superior position. They have archers way on top of the hill. Their infantry is backed to the bottom of the cliffs there. That's about a perfect position as the AI can pull off. Our infantry has no chance of destroying this Imperial infantry. Don't forget, we're outnumbered. So they have more infantry, they have more archers, they have more horse archers, they have more cavalry. And I think the death spam tells you all you need to know. This particular scenario here might be one that can't be won. Might be, too difficult to win even with tactics, especially the 4 divisions, but we'll try, right? You can see here the AI barely scratched the defenders' defender's force, killing about a third of them before they got waxed. Let's give this a shot. I don't have high hopes. However, here's the thing to remember. This scenario really shouldn't occur. If you're outnumbered by 30 or 40% like this, the enemy's going to attack you. They're going to come to you. So understand this situation it's more a demonstration of what is possible than what is realistic. We'll do some realistic battles in this episode. In fact, we'll do a ranged battle where you're heavily outnumbered by archers. We'll probably do a nasty mixed army of Imperials where you're outnumbered and they're attacking you. But let's just see what we can do here with the circumstances. There are rare circumstances where maybe you would be attacking a huge force here and they were, playing defensive, but most of the time they're going to come to you. Now, they're actually coming with their horse archers, so let's try to wipe out their horse archer division here at the beginning. If we have any chance of defeating them, obviously we've got to eliminate their horse archers. So let's try a trap. The AI is very, very susceptible to traps with horse archers. They tend to be a little cagey, right? You gotta sort of understand the mechanics and understand their normal behavior. They're coming in here, of course, circling counterclockwise. I got a nice little javelin for one of their captains. What we're going to do is circle behind them with cavalry. We've got horse archers tucked in behind the rocks over there. Of course, infantry facing them in a shield wall. And then we're going to charge and or move our archers up, right? You can actually charge in this situation with archers, and what it does is they not only move, which helps them a little bit because they don't get shot as much, right? If they're moving, they're obviously a little harder to shoot from a horse, but also because they're charging, they're moving towards the enemy, which is what we want here, right? We want to engage before the rest of these Imperials move up. It looks like they're static. We want to kill as many of these horse archers as we can. So closing in the net here. Fortunately, the landscape gives us a little bit of an edge. There's a big rock over on our right. The back of the map is a couple hundred yards from here. We're going to be able to corner them pretty seriously, and they're being strafed by archers. This really is one of those situations where it's bad AI, right? They're attacking with 100 or 80 horse archers against 400 units here, right? They should attack in conjunction. Maybe we'll set up a battle where that seems more likely. The rest of their units are just sitting there watching. And even though their archers are shooting at our infantry, they're not really doing much to us while their horse archers get exterminated. Now, if they had 300 or 400 horse archers, it would be a problem, right? When you're facing Khuzait in this instance, but 60, 70, it's actually... The biggest problem here is I'm wasting ammo, right? We're using an awful lot of ammo, an awful lot of javelins just to kill these guys. We're not suffering losses, but, losing those javelins when we need them to be thrown into the back of a legionnaire here in a couple minutes, it's relevant, right? So you'll see me, even though I say we have lots of ammo, you'll still see me holding fire and being a little bit more conservative in instances like this. Now, the ASERAI, half of their infantry in this circumstance is shock troops. So you do want your square and your shield wall to be tighter. A square, of course, will be plenty tight. It's obviously, it's dimensional. It's the same length versus width. But if you have a long, open shield wall, in other words, like a 50 or 60 person deep, there are going to be some shock troops in that front line getting smoked with arrows, right? So you really want to make sure your shock troops are protected. Now, the rest of their troops are charging, even though where the defender, or rather where the attacker here, I guess this is proving my point. The AI is looking at it saying, you can't win. It's looking at the power bar saying, all we have to do is just roll up this force and smash them into next week. So they're doing us a little bit of a favor here by moving in. That said, it's still going to be a tough battle. So get some cav over here. I love Javcav flanking, right? You can just move them in a shield wall. And the beautiful thing is they can just stand there in a shield wall and hold fire. And they slap a few of these bitches in the face. A little drive-by slapping. What's nice about it is they will stand there dutifully absorbing arrows with their shields, and then as soon as you tell them to kill, they switch from defense to offense very quickly. And obviously, that has a lot of versatility for you as the commander. Their horse archers are the same, right? You can shield wall their horse archers. And then as the enemy attacks or cavalry attacks them, then you can tell them attack, and they'll whip out their bow and start ripping shit up. It's a pretty diverse kingdom as far as versatility. It's probably the most versatile kingdom. Maybe Britannia is better with all their javelin throwers and wicked units. The Imperials are very versatile as well because they have horse archers, they have crossbow that can be used as infantry, etc. Now we're surrounding them here. Most of these tactics by now should be fairly garden variety for you guys. We want to kite with archers and then hammer them on both sides with cavalry. Over here we have a huge cavalry scrum as our tier 6 and whatnot cavalry fight theirs, but we have archer support and theirs can't really see ours very well. Their infantry zerging our square here. That's precisely what we want, right? You can hear the arrows smoking these guys in the back. And you know what? We got a shot to win this shit here. Let's get aggressive with this infantry. Now I want them to engage our infantry. That way all these archers shooting them right in the back. And this is starting to look really good. This is looking like a victory is possible here. Of course, it helped that they charged us. If they stayed static and defensive, this might have been a lot harder. Still got to deal with their archers. But we are smoking their infantry and cavalry. I hear them routing. We can't stop them! Now, I've got cavalry here, and you notice I'm not aggressively pouring in there. That's because we're going to use them defensively. We're going to augment our infantry lines here and lead these cavalry forward in a shield wall. You see me do this all the time on the channel. It's one of the best tactics in the game. Heavy cavalry absorb arrows really well. You don't want them to be like right in the face of the archers, but 50 to 100 yards is optimal. That way almost all of the arrows find their shields. In this case, I'm just going to steadily move them up to support our infantry, help our shock troops get in here, and this battle's over. Our infantry is going to be behind this line of powerful cavalry. You notice I'm just pushing it right through the enemy ranks. Now, all of those cavalry are going to get killed. But that's okay, right? They bought time for our infantry to close. And we lost a lot less infantry. Shit. Got killed, getting smacked around like a bitch. That bought us the time, though, for our infantry to close here. Get off him, fucking piece of shit. I'm trying to film a video here for YouTube. Quit fucking attacking me. Smoked right in the face. All right, charge. I think we got it still. We've got archers charging, which isn't great. But in a situation like this, especially if you're using the RTS mod, you want to just charge. If you don't charge, your units will do all kinds of stupid shit. Your archers will kite, even though they're right in the face of enemy archers. It's an automatic F1, F3 situation. And in some situations, you're a little bit desperate to F1, F3, right? Because we got it wrapped up now. But that extra, 5 seconds where the enemy's shooting your troops as they reform can cause 30, 40 deaths in a battle like this, and it can swing the action. This was not an easy win, but it's still a win in a battle I wasn't sure we could win. All right, let's try a standoff at the OK Corral here. We'll give both armies an archer-heavy army here, and we're going to be badly outnumbered. However, we have a chance to win this again for 2 reasons. We have more ammo, and of course, we're going to use tactics. The AI is notoriously mediocre when it comes to archer positioning. We're going to be exceptional. We're going to use cavalry screens. We'll do some flanking. We'll do some distractionary tactics here. And at least we have a shot to win this. And in no small part because we have more arrows. Even though they have 58% archers here, we'll have a bridge to defend. And obviously we're going to have more arrows. Now, let's see. We don't have a bridge to defend. We're kind of in the open here. I'd like to get across here, but just look at this tactically, right? Here's my starting line. If I start and try to race our units across there, we are going to get pounded, at least by horse archers. The bridge even angles away. I don't think that's an option. So we're going to, even though I intended this to be a bridge battle, we'll make do here. We'll do the best we can. And I'm going to continue to use 4 groups. We've had some success so far. I still think you squeeze out another 20 or 30% performance by having more groups. There are certain circumstances in certain kingdoms where it's essential, like Britannia, where you don't really have horse archers. You have 3 divisions, but this has worked pretty well. With the extra horse archer division, we can have a square after they're out of ammo. I'm digging this. Now we're going to do relatively simple tactics here, but it's still effective. The first thing we're going to do is a massive absorption of arrows, right? So we're going to move these guys back, and they want to be deep and thick like that, right? Just that's what she said. You want to make sure that that infantry division is 4, 5, 6 people deep. That way the shock troops are protected at the rear. The AI does a pretty good job of putting shock troops there. Now your elite cavalry here, again, it tends to put the best ones towards the front. We're going to sit at range, and I'm purposefully not attacking with archers here. I'm essentially allowing the enemy to expend a lot of their arrows on our shields. This is something that Strat Gaming Guide has shown many other YouTube content producers. essentially show that you can, on some level, exhaust the enemy archers by just standing here in a shield wall. Now, I'm not going to do this to an extreme level and waste your time, but especially those deadly crossbow bolts. If you can eat 2/3 of the enemy's ammo just in your shields at the beginning, and then bring your archers up, I think it'll pay dividends here. Plus, this side over here has a raised bank where we can get the archers, and of course, we'll give them a cavalry screen. What I love doing with cavalry is bringing them up, bringing the archers right behind them, and then it's just a peekaboo. Here the archers are, bitches, and they just start raining arrows down on the enemy. I think this is at least got a shot to win, and we're not suffering huge casualties. Again, the AI, I hate to keep picking on it, but it's very happy at 150 range. We're about 130, 150 to just shoot at your shields, and it'll score a few kills. Maybe we'll lose 15 or 20 guys here in the early stage of this battle, but that's not very effective, right? They have 360 archers. They have way more archers than us, and I still think we have a chance to overcome that. So the 3rd division is over here. The cavalry, just like I said, we're going to protect the archers, give them a beautiful angle to shoot. I'm just moving this cavalry up as a screen, right? Just like Marshal Murat or Napoleon. We're bringing them up here with their shields, triple thick line. That way very few arrows get through there. Now those archers can shoot, and those guys are going to be able to shoot for a long time, because not only do they have more ammo than the Imperials, but they have 2 quivers. Every single archer in that 2nd division has 2 quivers. So our 1st division is just here absorbing arrows, and here come the arrows, right? I mean, we have a flank on them too, and you can call it bad AI if you want, but we have the enemy in an absolute fucking fish barrel spot here. Our archers are elevated, our infantry is scorching, or destroying their cavalry. Our horse archers are about out of ammo here. In fact, I think we'll turn them into another distractionary square. The AI is going to charge us here because it's going to basically have a panic moment, like people selling stocks because there's a 10% correction and then stocks rip. They're going to make mistakes. And the AI is probably going to charge here, which is the worst thing they could do, right? They should be spreading their archers out and trying to pound us back. Instead, I think it's likely they'll just give up the ghost and give up their strategy. If they don't, we're just going to lay their whole army in the dirt, because most of our archers have a good angle here. And again, they're really low on ammo, right? The enemy expended a lot of their arrows at the beginning and didn't get much for their money. Now, the 1st division in a square, I've got this another division here, right? The 4th division, they can be another little square here to absorb attention, draw arrows, draw javelins, and absorb enemy attacks. Watch this too. Our cavalry's being attacked by cataphracts. Just move your cavalry past them, and the enemy will probably chase them, I think. And look at this shit. Now the enemy cavalry's on the other side of our cavalry, completely bound up and being smoked by arrows. As long as I don't get killed here, we've got this battle in a heartbeat. Now there's going to be a brief pause in the kills here because I want to get this higher angle for our archers. It'll also be a flanking behind angle for those guys. Let's get our Jav Cav behind the enemy here. We can start moving this 1st division kind of back between all this maelstrom. And this fucking battle is over. Not just over, we mangled the enemy here. It's not over yet, but I can just tell. We have such superior positioning. If I was Magnus Carlsen, I'd be standing up and to shake the guy's hand 6 moves into the chess match. This fucking battle is over. We have more infantry than they do, and they're just being shot. Our archers are completely being ignored. Our cavalry is smashing through their archers. We might as well get a little blood on our sword here. They're going to start routing soon. A lot of their archers are standing here too, right? They don't have ammo. These guys expelled their ammo. They shot their load. It's just like that great quote from The Dark Knight by Bane. You fight like a young man with nothing held back. Admirable, but foolish, right? That's exactly what happened here. The Imperials held nothing back, and they're getting bitch slapped in this battle. Now they get charged by our infantry. The chef's kiss is this right here. That's our horse archers. Look at those boys handle it. They're like, yeah, bring it. I'm heavily armored with a shield. I shot you 30 seconds ago, and now I'm an indestructible shield. You gotta love it. Let's kill their commander here and finish this debauch. And of course, they have the amplified hit points. She looks like a fucking porcupine. She's trampling our dudes. as she flees the battlefield. What a disgrace. All right, I don't just call that a success. That is incredibly demonstrative of how powerful the ASERAI archers are. In particular, again, the amount of ammo they had. These guys still have ammo, right? They kept on shooting until the enemy was exiting stage left. Let's see, what else can we do here? All right, so we've had exemplary success. Let's say I was playing myself. What would I make an army makeup to destroy an ASERAI force like this? Well, this is what I would do. One of the hardest battles you'll face with any kingdom, really, is to be heavily outnumbered, right? We're outnumbered here by about 50%, 40%, I guess. Let's just pick a random battlefield here. It doesn't matter too much. But then the enemy has cavalry, infantry, and horse archers in large abundance. And the reason that's deadly is that they come full throttle, right? Those three different divisions will attack you at the same time, and it's kind of a blitz. It's very difficult to deal with. And this is going to be really difficult battlefield for it. Nevertheless, right, you guys like to see challenges here. And of course, we're going to continue to demonstrate tactics. Even in a battlefield like this, in a bad situation like this, we have a chance to win if we execute good tactics. Some people might be scoffing. I'm actually sort of, I'm not confident in this situation, but you know, I think if we execute some good tactics, if the AI makes a mistake or two, maybe we can pounce on it. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here. I've got this sand ridge, and what I'm thinking of doing is actually trying to draw the enemy towards our left and then making a hurried push towards our right to pull them over that sand ridge. Because if we can at least eliminate their archers from this battle, that gives us a shot, right? If we can sort of cut out one of their legs of this attack, maybe we got a shot. So I want a shock troop division, the 3rd. We'll pair them with good cavalry. 2, 3. So we got, let's see. I could get really dynamic here and do a 1st division, but sometimes you can get overwhelmed by your own amount of divisions here. Let's see if I can manage this. I talk about span of control all the time. This is a really good example here. We're going to use all 8 divisions, and some of these divisions, they're really small, so it's going to be kind of easy to forget about them. And especially after using 4 divisions, it's kind of funny. It's almost like when you use your phone for a while for directions, and then someone gives you directions that you have to follow. You're just inept. Sometimes it's good to, you know, to do stuff that's hard because it exercises your brain. Suddenly, I can't even narrate. Right? I'm going to be a mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging dipshit here soon if I keep using 4 divisions. Steal a horse, of course, for all these battles. A horse, of course. What I'm going to do here is wait about 20 seconds and then race over here because I want to use this sand dune. There's not much to glean here. In fact, the sand dune is not really optimal either. It's a long, gentle, sloping dune. That's not going to work very well. But what I want to do here is set up a bit of a reverse slope decline. Oh shit, their horse archers are already on us. Okay, let's get archers spread out. This is a bad situation. Let's see here. Let's present an assault here. Our archers can stand still. We can loop in here with heavy cav, horse archers, basically everybody. They have a huge amount of horse archers too. Of course, I forgot that we gave them so many horse archers. And I'm in a little bit of a panic here because the rest of their units are not far away. We don't have long here to make this happen. You guys can tell how competitive I am, right? This battle means absolutely nothing, and I'm still strained and stressed because I want to win. All right, let's push in the trap now. At least we can clog the shit out of all their ways out of here, but they are pounding us with arrows. And the worst part is this is time I can't afford. The enemy's coming. I already told you that's why this is such a nasty attack, because that cavalry is running this way as fast as they can, and the infantry will be right behind them. We gotta move, boys. Let's close up the center here and kill as many of these guys as we can. At least we got these guys fucking bottled up. Get in here. Alright, look at these big... Kill these bitches. Quickly. They are being pounded. Alright, let's start resetting divisions. Shit, their infantry line's already cresting the ridge here. Let's get cav down here in the valley. I gotta get a 1st division square up there. Let's get skirmishers off to the left. Here, I'll just stop speaking like a fucking idiot here. I'm going to make a bunch of movements of different divisions here. I can't explain everything I'm doing right now, but I'm in a bit of a panic here because the enemy's on us before I'm ready. 4th and 5th can stand still. We got to get this shock troop division over here. God, their cavalry's pouring in. And this is why it's so hard, right? It's just, it's a blunt force attack. Honestly, there are a lot of battles where the AI would be better charging with everybody and holding fire, even horse archers, and just completely zerging your formation. That's almost what they're doing here, right? Their forces are just pouring over like an avalanche. At least we could charge here with this 3rd division. But we're fucked. You can just tell from the battle flow, the death spam. I don't even have time to set up our 6th division. They're just completely inundated by enemy troops. And, well, you know, you guys see losses sometimes. I mean, obviously, we have a lot of success on the channel. I guess it's refreshing once in a while for you to see a situation where everything falls apart. We're getting waxed here. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't even try. I mean, this battle's over. I tell you what, though, we're going to fight this battle in a different setting and see if we can't pull it off. This is a nightmare setting, a setup here to face, right? Lots and lots of enemy horse archers. They basically have lots of everything because we're so badly outnumbered. In fact, you can see the arrows fly over the top of the sand dune as their archers scorch us as well. But I don't like losing. I'm a crusty old alpha male with a mean competitive streak. So we're going to fight this battle again. And we'll just pick a random landscape. It's just, I got to have a little bit more time to set up our units here. And of course, we've got to try to destroy those horse archers faster at the beginning. Obviously, this is a failure. I mean, we didn't just lose. We got our shit pushed in pretty hard there. All right, so same basic circumstances here. Let's just pick a different battlefield. Like I said, I don't like losing. Yeah, sure. I've never even heard of this battlefield. Again, these fucking horse archers. We've got to somehow take out the horse archers. I'm tempted to adjust some of the units here, but let's just try with the exact same makeup. That way nobody thinks we're like changing the settings. And beautiful, right? This gives us a shot. Water. This is one of my favorite battlefields for tactics. There's water, there's slopes, there's all kinds of ridges for reverse slope declines. We got a shot to pull this off. Now I'm going to use very similar divisions here, and since I have a little bit more time to explain it, I'll tell you what I'm doing here. I want 2 archer divisions always, right? That way they can flank. If we get zerged at one spot, we can give one division up and have them charge. I'm going to have a horse archer division in the 7th. Cav divisions in the 2nd and 8th division. A lot of this is sort of garden variety tactics for us on the channel. I just want to explain it. 3rd division shock troops, right? So we're going to have 3 infantry divisions. A weak shield division that'll absorb attacks. You've probably seen us do that before, right? I like to have a punching division and a guarding division. It's okay to have weaker divisions in a square. You just got to know it's going to break down fast. They don't need to last a long time if we put enough firepower on the battlefield. Now, I got to trap the horse archers in the water down here, so I'm considering distancing and where we're going to position here. What you want is them to come across into the river. If you position either at that bridge or in the water or near the edge of the water, they'll just pound you from the other side of the slope. So we got to get kind of far away from the river here. And then once they're past the point of no return, right? Call this the Rubicon. Once they're past their point of they can't get out of the water, we're going to surge up and smoke them. Okay, so the 6th is elite skirmishers. We'll use them as a flank. This feels totally different than that last battle because, of course, we're going to have this huge amount of time to set up our units because of the water. Water is absolutely one of the most useful tactics here in Bannerlord. Now, I need a horse. Got to steal your horse again, dude. I like these. Give me your horse. There we go. Hit the wrong button. I like these armored horses here. This guy's actually a pretty good warrior. He throws javelins pretty well. I feel kind of like he even has the helmet that Wazoo had in the epic ASERAI campaign. I feel like I got some home cooking here. Now, definitely going to conserve ammo, right? The enemy's a long ways away. And let me just talk briefly about strategy here. Of course, we're going to absorb arrows. They're going to have a huge amount of horse archers shooting us. So I'm going to use the 1st and 2nd division for that, right? These are weaker troops. I'm not as concerned about them getting killed. You don't want your master archers getting shot early in a battle like this, right? So we're presenting a defensive front here. These guys are frankly expendable. That 1st and 2nd division. The 2nd division is our weak cav division. We're going to use them again That's our guard hand if we're using boxing analogies. Our 8th division is our swinging roundhouse hand, right? That's the 8th division will kill. That 2nd division, well, they're going to get killed, right? That's what's going to happen. All right, so their horse archers are coming, and beautifully, they're a little bit ahead of the rest of their formations. That's what we need. That's 60 seconds to destroy their horse archers. We must snatch that time and do this quickly. All right, let's get the 7th and 8th to this far side because, again, we want to herd those horse archers. We can't let them get behind us here. They're starting to shoot our archers, but, again, at this kind of range, not doing major damage, and a lot of their arrows are hitting this infantry division. Now, I don't like that slope. Those guys are getting hit in the face. What if I get shot in the face? That's our shock troops there getting hit, so you can just pull them back a little bit, and they'll have a little bit of protection. I'm going to actually use the other 2nd division to trap them even worse. The other cav division in the water to just sort of cut off their retreat. We now have our archers shooting, and of course they're getting pounded because they're in the water. They're not moving very fast. There's so many advantages to a water battle that I really do think we can win this, even though it's kind of against like a nemesis army here for this circumstance. Like, this is the kind of army I would build to attack myself, if that makes sense, right? Bobby Fischer used to play himself at chess. That's kind of what we're doing here. Although the AI it's hardly Bobby Fischer. Now, they're being herded pretty bad, but they didn't get as far as... Oh, beautifully. They turned directions. Now they're even more fucked. They should have fled for the hills. Instead, they kind of charged and ran right at us. We're going to be able to exterminate these horse archers. I mean, they are getting filleted. A bunch of fish laying in the river here dead. Now, I don't want to get too far into the weeds here, right? We dealt them a savage blow. Let's not get counterpunched here. Let's pull the 7th, 8th, and 2nd back and get ready for the next phase. That was good, though. We probably killed 100 horse archers in one go there. Look how deep it is here. I'm underwater. Man, I wish we let them get a little deeper. Maybe we could have inflicted, complete losses. Now look at this ridge. I can pull this infantry back. They can't even be shot by the guys in the river. It's beautiful. Over here we have the 6th, 3rd, and I'm going to give them a cav division here. I always like to pair that shock troop division with cavalry. These guys are so vulnerable otherwise. And of course you notice me holding fire. Let's get archers set up here. We may even have to kite, right? They're going to have a huge amount of troops. But one beautiful thing that's happening, the enemy archers are just sitting on the other side of the river. Like they don't want to get their little prancing feet wet or something like that. And that's going to cost the enemy here. I think this battle is over. Maybe I'm a little early in prognosticating that. Doesn't really matter. But without archer support, this infantry is going to get smoked. Of course, their cavalry is coming over, but it's coming slow. Getting shot in the river. Now this 1st division, we can open fire here. That's a bunch of skirmishers. The shock troop division is unleashed. Now we just got to get that infantry to absorb, to get their attention on this 1st division, right? That weak group of shields I keep talking about, this is where it's so important. If I could just sort of feed it to them, right? Just force feed them that division, then we can win this battle for sure. We got cavalry circling the enemy. Horse archers can be told to engage. This looks fucking great. Our archers are in beautiful position here. Their cavalry, all you hear is as they get help. We can't stop them. Now we can drive in on their infantry with our 6th and 3rd division here. They're looking the other way. You might want to look this way there, gents. Charge. And we got this shit. We're not just winning. We're rolling the enemy up. I love battles like this where it's just clean from start to finish and the enemy is just save yourself. They outnumber us by 200 and something and they just get cleaved and beheaded. It's so satisfying when you have a plan and it works, of course, and it's also retribution for that previous drubbing. It's nice, right? This exact same setup, we got crushed. It shows you the power of water. It shows you the power of tactics here. Now, just to ensure victory here, I'm just pulling back. I don't think we need to do this. In fact, they're probably out of ammo. They're not. I don't see any death spam. Their archers really butchered it bad. This is why they're waiting. They have horse archers behind us. We'll be able to blow these guys off the battlefield and then circle back and destroy their archers. I know this is a lot to absorb, right? The new player is probably like, what in the fuck is going on here? I can't make heads or tails from this. We have all kinds of tactical guides on the channel. I want to mention that here if there's somebody watching sort of spellbound. I remember when I first started playing Bannerlord, I literally couldn't command a bunch of recruits against looters. We were getting rolled up. I got killed and shit by looters. I actually had a campaign where I got killed on like day 2 by looters. So we've all been there before. And for a long time, I struggled to command armies well. But, you know, you practice, you come to channels like this, Strat Gaming Guide, Lesson 19, you learn, and the next thing you know, right, you're just experiencing Bannerlord ecstasy. And, of course, then you'll be coming here for mods on how you can make the game harder, because on some level, we make the game too easy. If you have really good tactics, just like this battle, you don't just win, you're rolling the enemy out. It's just a complete disaster for the enemy. Now, our cavalry's kind of stuck here behind the rocks and pushing our infantry and archers forward. Look at these rocks in our way here. We're suffering a lot of losses on the approach, so they weren't quite out of ammo. I wonder if the AI actually holds fire in some circumstances, but it's not going to matter, right? This huge line of archers here is going to get cut down. I've got a bunch of cavalry following me. Our infantry's moving up in shield wall. Our archers are still shooting because they have ammo. And this battle's over. Fall back, he says. Let's cut down some Imperials here. And I don't know about you guys, but I like kicking. I like kicking the enemy a few times. It's just sort of adding insult to injury at the end of battles like this. It's just digital pixels, but for some reason the sadist in me loves to kick routing enemy troops. Here's a candidate here. Have a boot, you motherfucker. I'll have to replay that for you fellas. I swear, I kicked him. He got his head cut off, and I'm pretty sure his head bounced off my shield. I mean, if you don't love that shit, I don't know. Maybe you're Mother Teresa or something. I think that's fucking ecstasy. Let's kick them till they're beheaded. Alright, so another massacre here, and I think we'll wrap this episode up. That was a pretty complete episode full of destruction here. You see the stunning power of the ASERAI archers. Of course, at this stage, I ask you all the normal things I do. Please subscribe if you want to see more. Hit that like button on the way out, friends. I really appreciate that. Leave any comments you might have, criticism, etc. And I'll see you, friends, next time. Alright, well, it's not next time, but I had to include this little battle at the end of this episode because I think it's just the cherry on top to both the power of tactics, but also these incredible ASERAI units. Absolutely, some of my favorite units in the ASERAI are these 4 units that we used in this battle. It's archers, of course, these light archers, not even high-level archers, and low-level infantry, and in this battle, we're going to take on the Imperials. Now, I didn't narrate this live, so I'll just do the best I can to sort of, I guess, pretend this is live here, and I'll walk you through some of the things we did here. Now, obviously, anytime you have archers in a situation like this, and look how heavily archer heavy our army is, right? It's about 60% archers. You want to have elevation, and you want to be mindful of the enemy approach, right? They're going to have a lot of everything, infantry, cavalry, but especially archers, so we want to provide a ring of defense for them. And, of course, we want to use this hill, this elevation, gives us a big advantage in a situation like this. Now, I ultimately decided that we had just enough shock troops, these little tier 3 Mamluk axemen, to do shield and shock on both wings. So you'll see in a second, we've got this 3rd division, and then I think I ended up using the 7th division as shield and shock divisions. I love this format. This works very well against almost any setup, honestly, but it's especially devastating against a cavalry charge, and in this, as you'll see, it works also against a mixed army here. So what did I did 4th, 5th, and 6th were archers. That 1st division just kind of, making the top of that chevron or half triangle there, right? We're going to consistently use that just because it continues to be devastatingly effective in Bannerlord. At this stage, I was like, hey, I got lots of shock troops. I had this weak 6th division towards the back, right? I think that's a key part of this strategy because when your archers in the front get attacked, that 6th division can help shoot guys attacking the other archers, right? The other archers, they're getting support from that other division. Even though they're weak archers, right? That 6th division is not going to score a lot of kills, but they're peppering guys, right? They're doing damage. And again, the double shield and shock, right? So we have cav divisions on both sides, and it's weak cavalry. This is not Vanguard Ferris. I want to emphasize that point here. In fact, we don't even have veteran Ferris. These are just your simple Ferris, right? Your tier 4 Ferris. So we have tier 3 and tier 4 archers, tier 3 and tier 4 infantry, and then tier 2 or tier 3 and tier 4 cavalry. The ASERAI veteran and Vanguard Ferris are not part of this battle. Neither are the ASERAI veteran infantry. And just watch what happens here. Now, we had too many archers, and anytime you have sort of a staggered situation like this, you want to tinker until they're not standing in each other's way here. They can be close to each other, and sometimes you can kind of shove them around like penguins. But if they can't see at all, they obviously won't shoot. So 6th Division of the weakest guys at the back. And just one last time to emphasize it, even the tier 3 ASERAI archers have 2 quivers of arrows. There's only 2 kingdoms that's the case, and that is Sturgia and the ASERAI. And of course, those are the 2 kingdoms that we've covered so far in this Bannerlord Rivalry series. Again, you can see what we're up against, right? We're up against all kinds of elite cataphract, elite Manavleton, legionnaire coming, and it's not going to mean a fig with good tactics. So I was kind of curious what was coming in. Of course, it is an archer-heavy army. That was the idea, right? We'd have an archer skirmish and see how we would do with a bunch of weaker archers. It's still effective. Even though they don't do a huge amount of damage, there's so many of them shooting, and they're in such a good position that eventually they start to score kills. Now, your 6th Division guys at the top really aren't getting kills, right? They're just kind of wounding guys. In fact, a lot of them, I think, at this range can't even hit the enemy. There is less range for archers than there is for crossbow. And my experience is the higher level archers do have a longer range. But it's a small difference. So just an extended range battle here. All of these archers shredding. And the death spam is amazing, right? The ASERAI archer, those tier 4 archers. That's not even the master archer. That's their tier 4 racking up the kills against sergeant crossbow and palatine guards, etc. So the infantry charges, right? And you guys are familiar with it at this stage. It's a 3-step movement when the enemy attacks in a situation like this. Distract with that main infantry square, right? We're going to sort of pull it left and right and hope their infantry tries to eat it. On both wings, it's basically just shield and shock, right? So I'm positioning cavalry and then moving shock troops to pair up with them to charge enemy cavalry. And then continue just to pepper the center here with archers. And I like opening up the center here because it really gives every single archer a great target. And your job, of course, especially if you have, powerful skills here, say you're a 2-handed axeman or something like that, is to participate here. You're killing these guys, right? Here, I just got this weak custom battle companion, so we'll try to throw a few javelins in here and break up their cav lines a little bit. But if you look at the power bar already, we're favored, and the enemy really is fighting an uphill battle, literally fighting an uphill battle. Their archers are shredded, their infantry's already starting to rout, and this battle is over. And I was stunned by this result. That's why I didn't narrate this live. I did not think this would be successful, and I didn't want to put another loss at the end of this episode. Instead, we get this glorious, perfect example of how unbelievably powerful both archers are in Bannerlord, but more importantly, tactics, right? The enemy had lots of archers here, but with better tactics, we didn't just win, we blew them off the fucking map. And again, there's no smoke and mirrors here. We're not using cheats or something like that. This is just light archers. The Mamluk axemen are badass, and you can see the results here. They're pretty incredible. And of course, the ASERAI archers, the tier 4 archers, are pretty damn good units. Right? If you're playing an ASERAI campaign, get a bunch of these light archers and start upgrading. They look stupid, but very quickly they'll make your enemy look stupid and lay their elite cataphract in the dirt. All right, I know I've said all this. I'll say it again. Thanks again for watching, fellas. I really appreciate the support, all you Patreon supporters. If you've watched to this stage, you must be a supporter of the channel, right? And the Imperial Elite Crossbow, Imperial Sergeant Crossbow didn't do shit. Thanks again for all your support, fellas. I wouldn't be here without you. Please hit that like button. Leave any comments, criticism. You can say this fucking episode was too long. Whatever it is you guys want to say, I appreciate it. Even if I don't reply to every comment, I read every single one of them. So with all that said, all right, we'll wrap this shit up. Thanks again for watching, friends, and I will see you next time.